Ball and SEC baseball.
So yeah, he brings a lot to the game, and he's right here.
Right now. Online at thezone1059.com and on your radio at ESPN 105.9 The Zone.
Hey, everybody. Welcome in. Can y'all hear me? Welcome in on this Reaction Monday. What are we reacting to? My goodness sakes alive. There's plenty to react to after this past weekend. And here's the thing about it. You're 2 weeks into the college season. You still don't know squat. We still don't know. I mean, it's going to be a wild up and down roller coaster ride this year. Boy, howdy. I can promise you it is. And look, historically, all right, forever, since creation, all right, since God spoke it into existence and rested on the seventh day, since that time, preseason polls have been useless. 95% wrong. Okay, that's how useless they are. But as wrong as they have always been, they're even more wrong this time in 2021. That's how useless they are. Preseason polls are practically the screen door on a submarine. That's how much good they serve. All right, and it's going to be a wild ride, and I'm here for all of it. Thank you for being here on this Reaction Monday in the Farm Bureau Insurance Studio. Farm Bureau, go with the home team. They are your home team at Farm Bureau Insurance across the great state of Mississippi. Your hometown heroes. That's your local Farm Bureau insurance agents available to you in all 82 counties around the state. And you can be a part of the show, and I hope you will be. Lots of ways for you to be a part of this conversation on this Reaction Monday. Now, if you're online, you know it's live. You can see me waving at y'all. You can see your comments going, popping up all over YouTube and Periscope and Facebook. I'm coming to some of those. Now, if you're tuning in live on the radio right now in the middle of the day on 105.9, The Zone in Jackson, hear me. I used to have a pastor, by the way, at my church. That's how he'd get our attention. He'd say, hear me. And we'd pay attention. Hear me out. We are live on the radio. This is a live radio show. You text me, I'm going to see it. You call me, I'm going to hear it, all right? So we are rolling with you on this Reaction Monday. So text me on the Country Pleasing text line, Country Pleasing sausage on grocery store shelves throughout the Southeast. It's the best sausage. 885-ESPN. That's the number, 601-885-ESPN or 885-3776. Text away, and I will see it here. Denzel coming to you. Anthony coming to you as well. And then call me on the phone, all right? So I got the phone lines open for you on this Reaction Monday. And sometimes you want to say something. It's a whole lot easier to say it than it is to type it into your phone if you're like me and you got big thumbs. So call me on the Davini phone, 995-1059, 601-995-1059. That's the Davini phone. All right? Where do we start? Before I even get into the comments, I feel like I ought to give a shout out to, on behalf of someone who's been really nice to me ever since I started this show, who's an avid listener to this show, and his team had probably the most fun game/upset of the entire weekend. Hog Jowl, where are you? Where are you right now, Hog Jowl? Huh? Come on. Arkansas. Isn't that the lyrics of the song? Isn't that it? Kind of like the Country Pleasing hog, isn't it? It's a big hog. I like this one better, but hey. That's it. They beat the brakes off of Texas. Texas,
he's probably in a mud pit somewhere enjoying himself, just like hogs
just
do.
Wallowing around like a hog in slop. That's what Hog Jowl is today. On this Reaction Monday, he's somewhere watching a replay. Yeah.
We'll watch him more than once.
Say what?
He'll watch it more than once, I guarantee.
And I don't blame him. I didn't get to see one snap of it yet. I only saw the score and kind of kept up with it as it was happening. On top of the fact that Arkansas whipped Texas. Hey, Texas, hear me. SEC, SEC. Bring it on. And, oh, by the way, all right, before I get to your comments, oh, by the way, let me just say something to y'all in case you hadn't figured this out, which I'm sure you have maybe kind of sort of at this point. The SEC owns the ACC, y'all. Come on. That's right. Mr. Harmon on YouTube agreeing with me wholeheartedly. Hail State. State put a whooping on NC State. It wasn't nearly as close as I thought it would be. I thought it should have been, but it wasn't. You know, and you look up at the end of that ball game, and it was 24-10 was the final score. But I promise you, anybody who saw the game, it never felt that close, did it? That's one of those where the score. I mean, because with about 5.5 minutes left in the game, or 5 minutes left in the game, whatever it was, it's 24-3. And NC State hadn't even gone over 200 yards of total offense yet. State's defense absolutely dominated them. And you go, well, their quarterback threw for 300. Yeah, and he threw for like 100 of it on the last possession of the game with clock going down. They couldn't win it. And State backs up and says, well, just make them play against the clock. They gave up passing yards in that last possession, but just dominated them. Just totally shut down their run game. State was so much more physical, particularly defense, but really as a whole, the whole team was really more physical than NC State, and that was the difference in the game. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to get into your comments right now without further ado. So I will come to the text line. I will come to your comments on the live stream. A bunch of them coming in, Facebook, YouTube, all y'all. So we're going to be doing that. But first, over to the phone line, the Davini Equipment phone line. Davini Equipment in Madison and in Jackson. Your Kubota dealer, the oldest Kubota dealer in the U.S. That means Davini's been doing it better, longer than anyone else. You want it, they've got it. Anything from a food plot perspective, if you're a hunter, listen, they also rent everything that you need to get those food plots planted. Not only the stuff to plant, they'll sell it to you. They can rent 50 horsepower Kubota tractors with all the implements, cutters, bush hogs, discs, spreaders, box blades, whatever. So if you don't have one, you just want to rent it to get your food plot ready, go to Davini. All right, here we go. First up, Chris on line 1. What's up, Chris?
How you doing, Matt?
Just right. Thanks for calling.
I'll tell you what, I think that's the defense we all thought we were going to get at the beginning of the year.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
I mean, but the one thing that I'm perplexed about is I had to listen to it. I didn't hear Aaron Brule's number very much. Is that kid hurt?
No, he's not hurt. He played really well, Chris. And I know you're a busy guy and you travel. I'm putting together a film study. It's going to have a lot of plays in it. I'll get it out this week, and you'll see some of the stuff he was doing. I don't know this for sure. I'm not through with it. I don't know this for sure, but I have a hunch in a few of the things I've seen when I've gone back and watched the game that it's almost like in their pass protection, they would find where Brule was and try to shade the running back to that side, especially when they were in a shotgun. And what State started doing was, let's say, for instance, you're the quarterback. They would bring Brule up to your right, over your right tackle, walk him up, and the back would be over there on that side. They'd get on the side where Brule was, and then when you'd snap the ball, Brule would drop off in coverage, and somebody would blitz from the other side. It's like they were jockeying around because I feel like they were trying, because there was a lot of pressure coming, and Brule was part of it. So that was a few times. It wasn't exclusive, but he did play and play well.
Okay, so the other thing is I'm going to call out somebody because I know that he won't let me call much anymore. They won't really answer the phone, let you get on the radio anymore like they used to. So I'm going to say that, Bo, since you're big-timing us, I can't tell you in person, but you need to stop drinking all that Kool-Aid. I mean, they talking about how Auburn and Ole Miss and all these different looks, and they want to talk bad about how State looks. Guess what? State has played two teams that are better than anything that Ole Miss has been on the field against, or Auburn. So, pump the brakes on that. And the second thing is hey, good job, Saints fans, for taking care of a quitting quarterback. I don't care what anybody says. Aaron Rodgers quit last night.
Yeah, he's done. The Packers have gotten all out of Aaron Rodgers they're going to get.
Yeah, I think so. I think he just said, okay, won't trade me, I'll show you. I really do, because, I mean, you've seen the lack of receivers last night, Matt. The only one that did anything last night for Aaron Rodgers was Devontae Adams, and that catch that Devontae Adams made was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, other than that, and I think Aaron was trying to throw it away because he was missing receivers by 10 or 15 yards. And I've been watching that man for years, carve people up, and he's never done that.
They were just not ready to play.
Tell me that man did quit.
Yeah, Chris, I'll say this. You know, when the quarterback spends the entire year basically letting everybody know he doesn't really want to be there, he reluctantly starts to practice. On top of that, because of him and kind of his lack of leadership on the team, you have some other guys that decide to take training camp off. And then the media comes running around, scurrying around like rats, telling you how good they look in practice. Yeah, well, tell me about how good they look now. You know, so
that's right.
It's just a mess, and we should have seen it coming a mile away.
One last thing. Bo Bounds, you're going to choke on that New Orleans Kool-Aid. Because guess what? That defense is good, but they're in the same division as Tom Brady. 136 yards will not be good enough. I don't care who you are. Yeah, Jameis didn't throw it to the other team, but he didn't throw it to his team very often either. So,
hey, well, and you may be right. You may be right, Chris, but I'll say this. When Jameis and the Saints do line up against Tom and the Bucs, must see TV. Thanks for the call, Chris.
But, they have a good day.
Yeah, appreciate you. Thank you.
You think that Aaron Rodgers' job with Green Bay's in, get this, Jeopardy?
Boom! He did it.
He dropped the mic.
He dropped the mic. Is that original? Did you come up with that, Bill?
Just sitting here thinking.
That's fantastic. I'm stealing it. I'm going to tweet it. You think his job is in ... Jeopardy? Good stuff. All right, back over to the phone line for the aforementioned. We played their song.
Come on, all you Razorback fans.
Here on Monday morning. They're calling the Hogs. Hog Jowl on line 2. Hog Jowl, what a ball game. Congrats to your Razorbacks.
Thanks, Matt. I'm just obviously overjoyed. I think I maybe had 4 or 5 hours of sleep since the game.
That's great.
I never call because I just don't like to take up time on the air and things like that, but I just had to share a couple thoughts with you if you don't mind.
Yeah, please do.
First of all, man, what an electric group of 77,000 fans that were on their feet the entire game. I mean, literally, it was amazing. I told somebody the day Sam Pittman was hired that he was going to be an outstanding coach, and I said that for several reasons. I kind of followed his career. The guy is honest as the day is long. He's a tremendous recruiter, but first and foremost, he absolutely loves Arkansas and wants this to be the only head coaching job he ever has. And people in our state have bought into that. I'm telling you, Sam could run for governor and beat anybody 99% to 1. It's just, it's amazing. But when he was hired, and I won't mention any names, but there was a host on your station, as a matter of fact, that said that it was the most idiotic hire in history of football. I made a comment, and I was told how delusional I was for even thinking that this guy would bring Arkansas back. As a matter of fact, he made the comment, it'd be like a snowball in hell before Arkansas was ever relevant again. And, the only thing I can say about that is it must be coming a blizzard in hell right now. So, Matt, thanks for taking my call, and Blue picks through it.
Wonder who he's talking about.
Well, it doesn't matter because his call was hilarious. I never saw it coming from you, Hog Jowl.
There's a blizzard down there.
40-21. And here's the thing about it. Okay, here's the thing. And Clayton pointed this out on YouTube. Arkansas's quarterback basically pulled a Nick Fitzgerald. He was 14 of 19, 138 yards and an interception. Like, they didn't throw the ball. They didn't have to. Okay, they ran the ball for 333 yards and 4 touchdowns against that Texas defense. If you ever needed anything to illustrate as it stands right now, not what it's like in 5 years when Texas joins the league or 10 years after they've been here a while, right now, to illustrate the difference between the SEC and what Texas has been doing out there. Look at that right there. There it is. Bingo, bingo, bingo. There it is. And don't go to me about Texas and Georgia in a bowl game a couple of years ago. If you think Georgia gave one flip about playing Texas in a bowl game after losing in Atlanta in the SEC title game, you got another thing coming. It's a real deal. You can't get them up after you lose in Atlanta in the title game for these SEC teams. It's the way it is. Ask Auburn and UCF. Georgia was the same way against Texas. Been a game that matters. And a program that's coming up, you go and play in front of 77,000. The stadium looked great. It was color coordinated, a full stadium for Arkansas fans. If you don't think they're excited. And they color coordinated the sections of the stadium. It looked great. I saw a picture. That's what I'm saying. I didn't get to see the game yet. But rush for 333 yards against the Texas defense. They want no part of that kind of football. They want to play. They don't want any part of it. Good stuff. Thanks for the call. Let's see. Eric commented, a long comment on Facebook from Eric. He said, "Happy Monday, Matt. I'm curious to see if you've noticed something I have. Both games so far, State's offense seems to get stronger and more precise in the fourth quarter. Running backs get more yards after contact. Rogers seems to be able to pick apart the defense better. Would you agree that our conditioning program seems to be a highlight early into the season so far?" Tyson Brown has done a great job with that strength and conditioning program. You can say that, and they got more effort, more consistent four-quarter effort out of them this past week against NC State for sure. All right, let's go back to the phone. Joey on line 1. What's up, Joey? Thanks for calling.
Hey, Matt White, Texas could change their mind.
What are you saying? We need to be nice to them? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I think they should change their mind and stay there. We've all been on some first dates that weren't real good, and we sure didn't try to marry the girl or the guy. We got on out of that deal. They could change their minds. And hey, and all credit to Arkansas. They went in there and manhandled Texas. And that person that the fella didn't call out has been praising Texas and bashing Arkansas. And Texas, they need to, it's like they said on the SEC Nation, somebody said they'd lose 3 games in the SEC. And Gene Chizik said, 3? He said, there's not even an SEC schedule, and they've already lost 1.
That's a good point.
They don't belong. Texas will remain irrelevant. Sarkisian, he got fired at USC for falling out on the podium, and knowing what I know about recovery, I'm not sure you want to join a pressure cooker with that few years in anyway. And I know it's a long time because 2 days for an alcoholic like that's a long time. So he's had some years. But sometimes stress is a great manipulator, and he may not want to be doing that. But that person who praised Texas and bashed Arkansas's choice of Sam Pittman. Now, I'm not going to call out his name. That would be rude, but his initials are Bo Bound. Y'all have a good day.
Thanks for the call, Joey.
Ooh.
Yeah, they're giving Bo a hard time. But, here's the thing about it. Credit to anybody with a strong opinion. Nobody. What was it you said, the famous quote from Festus on Gunsmoke that we came up with last week, Bill? What was it? The only thing sitting on the fence does is give you a sore behind. Isn't that what it was? Something like that.
Yep.
Anyway, so, but people remember. That's one thing that's jumping out to me here. Be careful what you say. People are definitely going to remember that. All right, look, the music is about to start. I don't want to get anybody cut off, so we'll continue the phone calls. We'll go to the phone in just a bit. We've already gotten more texts in here than I can shake a stick at, and lots of comments. I've been popping some of the comments on the live stream up for you so you can see them on the screen. Roshana on Aaron Rodgers said he checked out, but it's Green Bay's fault for forcing a quarterback out there that already told you that he doesn't want to be there. It's what an ugly situation in Green Bay right now, and an even uglier ball game yesterday. But you think the Saints care? No. Saints just did what they were supposed to do. Totally dominated Green Bay. 5 touchdown passes for Jameis in his Saints debut as a starter. And here we go. All right, we'll get into plenty of time. We'll get into breaking down games that happened on Saturday. The one that I saw State whipping up on NC State. Your text, your phone calls on Reaction Monday. Coming up next in the Bureau, the Farm Bureau Insurance Studio. Stick around. There's a lot of...
After these messages, we'll be right back.
For double enjoyment, reach for Beech-Nut Peppermint Gum. It sparkles your smile, your breath, your whole sense of enjoyment. Beech-Nut Peppermint in the familiar yellow pack.
Jeans do come true. Blue Delta Jeans makes the best fitting, most comfortable jeans in the world. Let's dive in and see what we have here. Do what I did. Visit BlueDeltaJeans.com. Find your fit. Just for my listeners, enter discount code Matt Wyatt. Just answer the questions. BlueDeltaJeans.com. Answer the questions. Use this code. Use the code. You're going to get a discount. They are the most comfortable jeans I've ever worn.
Farm Bureau Insurance stands ready to provide financial relief to our communities in this time of crisis. This includes a one-time credit to all personal auto policyholders, a donation of $500,000 to the Mississippi Food Network, and additional payment options for those hit the hardest, all while continuing to service customer claims as well. But this is the time to go above and beyond. These are a few ways we're keeping the Farm Bureau promise. To learn more, talk to your agent or visit us online. Go with the home team.
Hey, y'all, let me tell you a little bit about C Spire. New stuff in 2021, including 5G coverage. If you go to their website right now, cspire.com, you're going to see their no bull, which, by the way, I love the Super Bowl ad with the slow motion bull. You're going to see that on the website. But look, they're right. There's been a lot of bull over the years in your wireless bill, depending on if, who you were with. And my experience with C Spire is just like they say, there's no bull. I know what it's going to cost me each month. I know what my coverage is the number one coverage in Mississippi, period, the number one network. And they've got 5G phones that are 5G ready. Now, I have the new iPhone 12 Pro Max, got it at C Spire, went and did curbside at my local C Spire location and did the exchange where I traded in my old one, got the new one, and it's 5G capable. And we've got 5G coverage in parts of Mississippi, and it's just growing by the day. So you really ought to check that out, okay? And in terms of the new phones, you got deals going on those as well. Find those out at cspire.com. C Spire, customer inspired.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Every farmer understands their farm can't thrive without some good partners like sun, soil, and rain. And farmers in North Mississippi also rely on another important partner, Mississippi Land Bank, because land and farm financing are Mississippi Land Bank's primary focus. We've grown alongside these farmers' crops, for more than 100 years. We understand what a farmer needs, and we know the lay of the land in North Mississippi, and that's where I stand.
A lot of people in the equipment world, things kind of go in trends, I guess, if you want to say it. So kind of the first big thing that we look at when we start evaluating our business is going to be our turf equipment. That's kind of the first big push, because once everything, the water dries up and the grass starts growing, this is what everybody's looking to get. We carry the new Wright stand-up mower. Doesn't look like much, but this thing is, and it costs just as much as zero turn. Not a cheap unit at all. I mean, if you go out there and look at that zero turn, this thing right here, I mean, it's got all your components from your big pumps to your commercial engine to your large steel deck. And these guys were the first ones to make the standard mower.
Better buy Bird's Eye. Better buy Bird's Eye.
Yes, always look for this Bird's Eye Bird, your guarantee of top quality frozen food. And your big Bird's Eye buy this week.
This time we are proudly required to present
more of the Matt Wyatt Show.
We have another totally awesome episode for you today.
And it's streaming right now online at thezone1059.com and on your radio on ESPN 105.9. The Zone.
All right, back with you. Just getting started here on this Reaction Monday. We've gotten several comments on the live stream on Facebook and on YouTube and Periscope about the officiating in the Mississippi State North Carolina State game. And it wasn't nearly as high profile a game as Arkansas knocking off Texas being ranked in the top 15 coming into that one. And now Arkansas is ranked in some of the polls. But still, it was an example of non-conference team coming in there. NC State, high hopes this year. Won 45-0 in the opener, and people said that they were hoping that this could be a year they could challenge Clemson in their division and all this, and they had an experienced team, and I expected a competitive game. State absolutely just bludgeoned NC State. Mississippi State's defense ran over and through and around and, again, right through their offense. State was more physical than NC State and just took it to them. For the most part, SEC had a really good showing, this weekend. And you didn't have a ton of great games. And later in the show, we'll do that. We'll come back and look at everybody's played two opponents right now in the SEC, and not all two are the same. I mean, some teams have had much tougher two-game stretches to open the year than others, and we're seeing that. We didn't know it until we see the games, see the teams play, and we're starting to see who is what, to a degree, anyway. But still a long way to go for the season to play out and really decide how everybody shakes out, who's strong, who's not, all that kind of stuff. All right, back to the comments. Let's go to the phone line where Kobe has been hanging on for a little while on line 2 of the Davini phone. Kobe, thanks for being patient. What's up?
Hey, what's up, Matt? I was going to start with my Tigers, but I heard Joey. He probably needs to stay off the sauce, because if he thinks Texas is going to leave that SEC money and turn around, he's crazy. Same thing with Sark. Sark will take the stress for that paycheck. I probably would too. So they just got a rude awakening, but you think he would have took something from playing at Alabama against them last year. But, hey, that's between him and his bosses.
Sure.
Secondly, I was going to sort of touch on the Tigers. You told me last week, give prime time a little bit of time, and, they showed out. But that's what I was expecting. Looked like he took some notes from Nick, and they stretched the field a little bit, put up a couple more points up there in Memphis. So
yeah, sure.
I guess patience was a virtue in that aspect.
Well, and the thing, I'll tell you the thing that I was most impressed with, I mean, other than the fact that, Sanders, his son, the quarterback, Shadur Sanders, a great completion percentage. He was like, 30 for 40. He's pushing 400 yards, not quite there, 3 touchdowns. They threw it really well, but it was how they dominated the second half. I mean, that was a 10-7 ball game at halftime, and then to come out and just run away from them and dominate the second half, 28 second half points, that shows you that they have depth and they're in good shape.
Yeah, but that's all it took. They opened up the playbook. They started giving it to Pickett out of the backfield, letting those big guys on the left side get up the field. And it goes, that's what I say, they got the talent. It's just how sophisticated will offense get. And if they continue to do that, they can. We're looking for Shaquille Glass. I hope you come to the game. I'll get you a ticket. We can see that kid play.
I would love to, Kobe. Hey, and thanks for calling as always. Congrats on the win, man.
All right, take it easy.
Take it easy. They put up 38 points and scored 28 of it in the second half and just blew the doors off that game with Tennessee State. Jackson State looked in the second half the other day like what everybody has been expecting them to look like. And I'm telling you, for teams in new programs especially, there's always a light bulb moment. And they all have one that go on and become, conference champion type teams. They have the kind of talent to become a conference champion type of team at Jackson State, obviously. And honestly, that second half could have been the light bulb moment. Now, they got to build on it, but it could have been. All right, lots and lots of text messages to get to on the Country Pleasing text line, Country Pleasing Sausage on grocery store shelves throughout the Southeast. And I get mine at Walmart. Lots of different flavors at my Walmart here in Tupelo. We have two of them, but I go to one of them, and they have lots of different flavors there. I just this morning opened a package of 3 cheese. Yeah, sure did. Ate it for breakfast. Not the whole thing, part of it. Anthony from Tupelo was up first, and he says, I'm not one to say I told you so, but State did win by 14. That's exactly right, Anthony. Your prediction, you nailed the margin perfectly. White Denzel says, Matt, it was an honor to have you at the game on Friday. I saw and met White Denzel in person and several other folks who listen and text to this show at the Leak Academy versus Union game. Leak Academy I'm talking about, blew the doors off that ball game, even though it was tied up, halfway into the second quarter, 13-13. Denzel says, you were the first college quarterback I saw play live. It was an honor to meet you. Sorry we couldn't have given you a better game to watch, but I'm looking forward to the finished project from the game. It was a great atmosphere. And it really was, Denzel, a great atmosphere. Both communities filling up both sides of the stadium, people standing room only on the ends and up on the hill in the junction. And it was a beautiful, just gorgeous night. Private school versus public school, physical game. And it was good to be there. I really enjoyed seeing it. Thank you all for getting on my case and inviting me, because I'm glad I've gone through it now. The Junction Bowl. The real unnamed texter said this. We know this. The Browns are still the Browns. Let me tell you something. The Chiefs stole that football game from Cleveland. I don't know how they did it, other than the fact that Patrick Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes and nobody can run with Tyreek Hill. But look, y'all saw it. Cleveland, the Browns were absolutely dominating Kansas City's defense. They were running the ball. They had total control of that game. But the Chiefs at home, I'm telling you, the crowd took over and I think affected the punter. And that's why Cleveland's punter dropped the ball. They stole that game. You'll take it, 1-0. They don't care how you want it. You just want it. Unnamed texter facetiously says, Hook'em Horns, Texas is back. Delta Tide fan says, Texas, what is this? There's a typo in there, Delta Tide fan, so I'll just read the rest of it. It says, not sure, talking about Texas, if they are quite ready for the SEC. If they get beat by Arkansas, imagine how it's going to be when they play, other teams. Yeah, we'll see what they are then by the time they roll up in here. Jackson Mailman says, did you see any lack of effort on Green Bay's offensive line? Like they were sending a message to Rodgers? Were they that bad, or was Saints defense that good? It was a beatdown. It was. Listen, Mailman, you had Elton Jenkins, who's their starting Pro Bowl guard, having to play left tackle, and he played well. But they have 2 rookies playing in the interior. One of them is Royce, what's his name, Clayton? Royce, the offensive lineman from Ole Miss. And they had a hard time, like you would expect. The same way a couple of rookies starting on Kansas City's offensive line had a hard time, as you would expect. And so that was the big part of it. I just think that it was a perfect storm for Green Bay in that they haven't had a normal offseason. They don't have the chemistry you have to be a winning team and to get ready to play. And at the same time, the Saints are good. Saints are better than people think. Chris is going to tell me I'm drinking Kool-Aid. I'm not sitting here saying what they're going to accomplish. I'm just telling you the Saints are better than people thought they would be. Jameis Winston is going to be and is and was better than people thought he would be. That's just the truth. All right, staying on the texts, 885 ESPN on this Reaction Monday. Jimmy Hookup said, I was so impressed with the tackling on Saturday in Starkville, especially on the edge. That's some great early season technique. State was very physical. There was one play, Jimmy, where the ball was on the right hash for NC State's offense. So they're going to run the ball to the left. They ran everything to the left behind their left tackle, but it was going to be to the wide side of the field here, long way. State was caught on defense standing looking at the sideline trying to get the call and weren't even lined up correctly and fully lined up and ready to go when they snapped the ball, but it still didn't matter. Jack Harris took on the tackle and got off that block, and he starts pursuing it as it goes wide. Aaron Brule got off the block of the guard who moved up the next level. He got hit, but he got off of it, and here he goes. And then at the next level, the tight end hit Colin Duncan, the safety, and didn't block him. Duncan got off the block. So they weren't even lined up. The correct blockers got to State's players, but none of them allowed themselves to get blocked. They ran it down after not even being lined up and got a tackle for loss. Duncan tackled him 4 yards behind the line of scrimmage. So they just played faster and more physical. All right, Doc, he said, how did your expectations change from this weekend for this State team? No, it didn't change. The expectations didn't change. I mean, it's a non-conference game, a home game. Just because, honestly, Doc, look, I don't look at State or any other team and hang a win-loss record on my expectations for somebody. I just don't look at it that way. And so, no, it's not like I went, well, okay, they win this game that way. Now I think they're an 8-win, 9-win team, versus before I thought they were 7. No. So it didn't really change the expectations for me. I knew it was a game that they could win if they played well. And defensively, they played really well. They were kind of up and down in special teams, one good, punting bad. And offensively, there were still some ups and downs, but they didn't turn the ball over at all and made plays when they had to. And you and I saw this, too. We talk about how State dominated the game. They were a grand total of about 2 feet, 1 foot on one throw and 1 foot on another from blowing the doors off that game. I mean, so they were real close. They had people open, and it could have gotten ugly early. All right. Reaction Monday is only just underway. Stick around.
There's a lot of noise.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Arrived today. Jeans do come true. Thank you, Blue Delta. Yeah, jeans do come true. That's what the bag says. Blue Delta Jeans makes the best fitting, most comfortable jeans in the world because they are uniquely made for you and only you. Raw denim jeans, custom fit, hand tailored in Tupelo, Mississippi, my hometown. Let's dive in and see what we have here. Do what I did. Visit BlueDeltaJeans.com. Find your fit, design a jean, and before you know it, you'll be addicted. Just for my listeners, enter discount code Matt Wyatt, all lowercase. Again, that's if you listen to me, you can use discount code Matt Wyatt, all lowercase, and at checkout, you're going to get a 10% discount off your order. So I just went online, ordered them, BlueDeltaJeans.com a couple weeks ago. Went in, I didn't go get measured. I just entered, what I knew about myself. I just answered the questions, and here they are at my doorstep a couple weeks later. Nice. Yeah, Blue Delta. Nice. I'm happy. I've known the Blue Delta team for years, and I'm thrilled to have these guys on as a sponsor of this show. Blue Delta's Virtual Tailor is a fun and easy way to get yourself into the best fitting pair of jeans you're ever going to own. Bet you never thought you'd get a butt shot out of me, huh? How about that? Just answer the questions, and they fit absolutely perfectly. They couldn't fit better. So just go online, BlueDeltaJeans.com, answer the questions. It's amazing how they do it. They will fit perfectly. You're not going to find better material and better feeling pants, period, anywhere. BlueDeltaJeans.com. Use this code. Use the code. You're going to get a discount. They are the most comfortable jeans I've ever worn. I promise you that. And I know that you are going to love them too. Make sure you use the code. And remember, jeans do come true.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Let me tell you about an ice cream can't be beat.
The very best tasting you can eat.
It's Meadow, 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 Meadow Smooth Freeze Meadow Gold. Go to your ice cream man today, and here's the word that you should say. Oh, give me Meadow, Meadow, Meadow Smooth Freeze Meadow Gold. And remember, folks, Meadow Gold
is mighty good.
For double enjoyment, reach for Beech-Nut Peppermint Gum. It sparkles your smile, your breath, your whole sense of enjoyment. Beech-Nut Peppermint in the familiar yellow pack.
6 o'clock, dinner time. Thank goodness for Jell-O Instant Pudding.
Yes, thank goodness for Jell-O Instant Pudding. The terrific busy day dessert you can make at the very last minute. See how quick and easy. Just add it to cold milk and beat it up. That's all. By the time you're ready to eat it, it's all ready for you. Jell-O Instant Pudding, made by the famous Jell-O folks. So creamy, so nourishing, so delicious. No other instant pudding is quite the same. Stock your shelves with all 7 flavors. The good busy day dessert. Jell-O Instant Pudding.
Sports Powerhouse. ESPN 105.9 The Zone and streaming. Check it out online now at thezone1059.com.
Back with you. How about this? On the live stream on YouTube, Ball Jones says, Forbes is my baby brother. I think I met you, didn't I? I met you before last year's Egg Bowl in Oxford, or before or after, one or the other. And then just down below on Facebook on the live stream, somebody, Philip, said Jet Johnson played a heck of a ball game. He was everywhere. It seems like he was in on every play on defense. It really did seem that way. And those two, Emmanuel Forbes and Jet Johnson, that's who on our radio broadcast, Neil and Jay and I gave the we split the player of the game. It was the Chevron star of the game, and we split it into and gave, half a star to Forbes, I guess, and well, we gave them a star each. They were the stars of the game because Forbes, the leading tackler, and of course had a sack and some PBUs in there, and Johnson. They both had tackles for loss. Johnson was your second leading tackler. He forced a fumble at a key time in the game, and you're right, he pressured the QB some. He was everywhere. Had a really good ball game. He sure did. Okay, back over to the text line. Let me go fast here. It's Reaction Monday. We're just kind of getting underway. Going to be here with you for 3 hours today, so we're just a little ways into the early part of the show. Not quite a third of the way into today's show, so a long way to go. Unnamed texter said, Tulu is the GOAT. Wonder how many teams are going to kick to him again. Also, wonder why he isn't returning punts. Well, catching punts versus catching kickoffs is two different things. Two entirely different things. Not that he can't. I'm not saying he can't. I'm just saying it's two different things. So they've got their reasoning for that. But, yeah, I would imagine teams are just going to, by any means necessary, figure out a way to not kick it to him. If they have let's just put it this way. This is what you're going to see going forward. If a team has a kicker who you're confident can kick it out of the back of the end zone, that's what they'll be doing, and it'll only be a mistake if they kick it short enough for him to return it. Otherwise, if they have a kicker who they are not confident can boom it out of the back of the end zone, they will be doing sky kicks and forcing State to fair catch it maybe and just take, give State field position at the 30 or the 35, wherever it's fair caught by the upbacks, because teams are just not going to want to kick it to him. Right. I mean, it's just the way it is. 3 games in a row now where he's changed them. The bowl game and then the first 2 this year, 3 in a row where he's totally changed the game with his kickoff return ability. For State, just a local kid, Philadelphia High School. Jeremy texted the show and says, if that wasn't targeting on the hit on Polk in the end zone, then I don't know what in the it is. Isn't he considered defenseless at that point? Yeah, and Jeremy, the only thing that I can think is, the whole levels of targeting. Well, no, don't use that term. It's not levels. You only have one targeting call. It's all the same penalty. But there are these thresholds that have to be crossed, right? Leading with the crown of the helmet. If you lead with the crown of the helmet, even if the guy isn't defenseless, it can still be targeting. But I don't know if the reverse is true on that, Jeremy, according to how they're taught to call it. If the guy is defenseless, but you don't, A, lead with the crown of the helmet, and B, they decide you didn't launch at the head or neck of a defenseless, then maybe it's not targeting. And maybe they looked at it and goes, well, he didn't go in with his helmet. He went in with the shoulder and hit him in the shoulder. Therefore, it wasn't head or neck. That's all I can think. Was he defenseless? No question. My thing is there some other part of this that has to make it targeting? Does he not only have to be defenseless, but do you have to show that you launched into his head or neck area? Or can you hit a defenseless receiver and it be totally legal and not targeting as long as you don't hit him in the head? That's just what I want to know. And I'm confused by all of it, as is everybody else. Unnamed texter said, one reason he didn't have many yards is because of the field position. Most of the time we were already on their side of the field talking about the Saints. Yeah, that's right. Playing across the 50. They didn't have to have long 75-yard drives, did they? Short possessions, turnovers, those kinds of things. We had someone else text and say, if I remember correctly, the Arkansas coach wasn't the University of Arkansas's first choice, but he's had an immediate impact. And then here's the key question you're asking. You said, who's on the staff? Who did they bring in to recruit? They're better. They are better. But here's the thing about it. The best thing that Sam Pittman did after getting the job at Arkansas was he hired Kendall Briles to coach his offense. Art Briles' son is coaching his offense, okay, and got Barry Odom to coach his defense, the former Missouri head coach. But before that, he was Missouri's D coordinator, one of the more respected defensive coaches in all of college football. And the timing had just worked out, right? Because Missouri was going through a coaching change and Barry Odom needed a job. And I'm sure he enjoys coaching defense on one side of the ball more than he enjoyed being a head coach. And Pittman brings those two guys in and goes, man, the offense is yours, Kendall, and Barry, the defense is yours, and I'll leave it alone and recruit. And it is working for them right now. Now, let's watch them play SEC football this year. Let's don't crown them too much just yet because they beat Texas. But I will give them credit for the positive momentum, the better play. They're more physical. They have a clue on both sides of the ball, obviously. And their fan base is so bought in. Like I say, I didn't watch it, but I saw the picture. And that stadium was slam full of people, color coordinated how they wanted it. It really did look good. Bama fan texted me and he said, come on. Coach Sark has already forgotten about the loss and moved on to the next opponent. He realizes he has work to do to get his team where he wants him. Texas will be a factor with Sark as their coach. I'm a Bama guy and know what he did for us. Smart dude. Yeah, he is a smart dude. He is. Yeah, I'm not writing them off. That's like I said it 2 or 3 times. We don't know what they're going to look like in 5 years when they come into the league, let alone 10 years when they've been here for a while. We don't know. I just know right now there's a big difference between them and us. And he knows it too. He coached at Alabama last year. He knows. Let me ask you another question, though, Bama fan. He's smart. Is he going to coach the same kind of athletes across the board on his offense at Texas that he did at Alabama last year and the year before? Well, you and I know the answer to that. No. Never. We can sit here and talk about how smart he is, and he is. You know who else looks really smart right now? Bill O'Brien. You know who looked really smart before Steve Sarkisian? Lane Kiffin. You know who looked really, really smart before him? Doug Nussmeier and then Jim McElwain. Everybody who's coached at Alabama has looked really smart. And a big reason is they're coaching the best players. Not as smart, Bama fan, but to a degree. You and I would look smart coaching some of those guys. Let me coach Alabama's O-line. I look smart too. Joey. Okay, got it. Appreciate it. Let me just say, all right, Joey, you can call, you can text all you want to. I don't appreciate, whether it's Sarkisian or anybody else who's a recovering alcoholic, that we call in, we bring it up. Okay, I don't want to bring it up anymore. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want it discussed on this show. Take it elsewhere. We'll talk about anything else. That's him, and that's a personal thing. It's none of my business. None of yours either. Anthony said, in response to the caller that said it looked like Sarkisian would have taken some of what he learned to Bama from Texas, Anthony says, from what different coaches have said, it's hard to implement the kind of physicality that teams play with in the SEC. If Sarkisian is successful, it'll take him a couple of years to get the players for that type of intensity. Well, and I think, Anthony, it was sort of an off-the-cuff comment because he does. I mean, of course he did. Things he learned, experiences he had, stuff he did at Alabama that worked. Yeah, well, obviously he takes it with him. I mean, there's no question. B-Dog2 texted the show. He said, Matt, did you see this? The first long pass play by NC State ruled a completion, not reviewed. It looked like the receiver was out by 2 feet. Nope, he got his foot in. Had his foot down and drug it. And then B-Dog said, I thought Dylan Johnson had a great game. He ran hard all night, made an amazing diving catch, trucked the linebacker, knocked him out of the game, blocked well. Listen, he played well. And here's the thing, B-Dog. Last week against La Tech early in the game, Dylan Johnson got banged up a little bit. Played the rest of the game not quite 100%. This week, feeling good, obviously, right? Had a great week of practice and feeling good. And when he turned up on that linebacker, that is a great player for NC State. He was their best linebacker, one of the better ones. Or anyway, social media says he's one of the better linebackers in the SEC experience. And it's one-on-one on the side. And this is Dylan Johnson, a year and a half removed from high school, caught the football with no intention of going out of bounds, lowered his shoulder, and ran right through him. And it injured him. He left the game, and that kid is now out for the year. That's why I said earlier, I don't want to see anybody get hurt. I'm not celebrating it. But the point is this. State was more physical than NC State in every phase. That was a big reason why they pretty much dominated the ball game. All right, hour 1 in the books. Let's go. Hour 2 coming up.
Farm Bureau Insurance stands ready to provide financial relief to our communities in this time of crisis. This includes a one-time credit to all personal auto policyholders, a donation of $500,000 to the Mississippi Food Network, and additional payment options for those hit the hardest, all while continuing to service customer claims as well. But this is the time to go above and beyond. These are a few ways we're keeping the Farm Bureau promise. To learn more, talk to your agent or visit us online. Go with the home team.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
We are about to have a fire and cook some sausage. A country pleasing sausage is outstanding whether you cook it over a fire or in the house. Cook some of this right here. It's green onion flavor. You see that? But this right here is my favorite, the maple flavor. And this is great for breakfast. It's awesome cooking it in the house because it makes the whole house smell good. Oh yeah. Let's eat country pleasing sausage, the best, hands down. If you go to countrypleasing.com, you can actually order this and deliver it to your house. Country pleasing sausage, hands down, the best. Trust me. Davini Equipment, Spring Ridge Road in Jackson, Highway 51 in Madison. Hey y'all, let me tell you a little bit about C Spire. New stuff in 2021, including 5G coverage. If you go to their website right now, cspire.com, you're going to see their No Bull, which, by the way, I love the Super Bowl ad with the slow motion bull. You're going to see that on the website. But look, they're right. There's been a lot of bull over the years in your wireless bill, depending on if, who you were with. And my experience with C Spire is just like they say, there's no bull. I know what it's going to cost me each month. I know what my coverage is the number one coverage in Mississippi, period, the number one network. And they've got 5G phones that are 5G ready. Now, I have the new iPhone 12 Pro Max, got it at C Spire, went and did curbside at my local C Spire location and did the exchange where I traded in my old one, got the new one, and it's 5G capable. And we've got 5G coverage in parts of Mississippi, and it's just growing by the day. So you really ought to check that out, okay? And in terms of the new phones, you got deals going on those as well. Find those out at cspire.com. C Spire, customer inspired.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Jeans do come true. Blue Delta Jeans makes the best fitting, most comfortable jeans in the world because they are uniquely made for you and only you. Let's dive in and see what we have here. Do what I did. Visit BlueDeltaJeans.com. Find your fit, design a jean, and before you know it, you'll be addicted. Just for my listeners, enter discount code Matt Wyatt, all lowercase, BlueDeltaJeans.com. I just entered, what I knew about myself. I just answered the questions, and here they are. Nice. Yeah, Blue Delta. Just answered the questions, and they fit absolutely perfectly. They couldn't fit better. So just go online, BlueDeltaJeans.com, answer the questions, use this code. Use the code, you're going to get a discount. They are the most comfortable jeans I've ever worn, and I know that you are going to love them too.
poverty gets in the way. Child Fund works in 24 countries to make sure children like Hazel grow up healthy, educated, self-sufficient, and safe. Why? Because Child Fund knows the promise inside every child is greater than the poverty around them. Learn more at childfund.org.
WRKS Pickett's Jackson.
Time.
It's time to get back to the Matt Wyatt Show.
Live in the studio.
Online at thezone1059.com and on your radio at ESPN 105.9 The Zone.
Hi, let's go. Let's roll. Hour number 2. Utah. Give me 2. Utah got beat, by the way. BYU beat Utah for the first time in a whole bunch of years. Sure did. Somewhat of an upset. Did I see where BYU fans stormed the field? It must have been a big deal. Anyway, here we go. Hour number 2 in the Bureau, the Farm Bureau Insurance Studio. Farm Bureau Insurance. Go with the home team. They are your home team at Farm Bureau. I did get a text from Chad, better known as Pookie, who said, can you play the Neil Price radio call on the opening kickoff of the game? Well, you asked for it. You got it, Toyota.
Gill runs up to the football. The NC State kicker boots it away with his right foot, and this game is underway. Griffin from the goal line. Straight ahead, 5, 10, between the hashes, 15, 20, 30. Breaks the tackle there. Angling left, 35, 40. He's into the open field. Tulu says toodaloo on the opening kickoff. Touchdown, MSU. There are no flags.
What a great call there to start the ball game. And
how long has Neil been wanting to wait to say that? Toodaloo says toodaloo.
Toodaloo, I don't know, but that was a good call. That was a great call one way or the other. I know that. And doggone, I got back home. I opened the computer to find the ESPN highlight of it, Bill, the video. And, of course, they're starting the broadcast. And the call on TV was all jumbled and quirky because they had gone to the sideline girl for a report prior to the kickoff, and she just kept talking about some offensive lineman. And Tulu Griffin's like at midfield about to bust this run, and she's just yapping. And the play-by-play guy on TV just starts talking over her. And she
there's a reason you don't listen to ESPN broadcasting.
There's a reason you turn it on the radio.
Yeah. Listen to Matt Wyatt.
Yeah. Well, don't listen to me. Listen to Neil.
Listen to Neil.
That's it. It's so much better. It sure is. All right, we'll start the hour off. Thanks for your request there, by the way, Pookie, and everybody else on the text line. A whole bunch of y'all that have texted me. I'm coming to it, I promise you, and got plenty of time to do so. Hey to everybody that's on the live stream as well. I can get your comments in there, Facebook, YouTube, Periscope. John says on Facebook he could listen to him all day. Will said on YouTube, Neil's call miles better than ESPN's. Of course it was, as might be expected. And call me on the Davini phone. Let's go to the phone. Davini Equipment, Madison and in Jackson on line 1. His name is Chicken Hawk. Here we go. Better known as Mr. Buttermilk Biscuit. Hey, Hawk, what's up?
Hey, look at him. Hashtag Hail State. Now, look, I told Cowboy Bill I'm going to try to go fast, but I got to get this in, especially the last thing. It's just awesome, the last thing I got to tell you. You won't never guess what it is. Okay. But look at him. I met some of the Hawkamaniacs, man. They just freaked me out. Come down there. I guess they seen Lou Bell's beautiful picture of me back when I had that girlish figure, and tapped me on the shoulder, said, "Are you Chicken Hawk?" And you kind of look like that fella. I said, "Well, yes, but y'all, young as y'all are, y'all need to call me Mister." But no, I didn't do that. But look at him. I gotta give a first off. Me and Lou Bell have been talking about Went McGee, and he advertises on ESPN 105.9 The Zone.
The Zone.
Yes, he did. That's both. But he gonna give me a 20% discount. Me and Lou Bell, because we want a place between Start Vegas and Sparta, because she got a lot of kin folks on the Eaton side that lives up there. And he said because of you and the way you do me sometimes, that he's going to give me a 20% discount. Now,
that's great.
I got it. That's wonderful. Now, listen to him. This one right here, he's the best. I like all of them now that I've seen them. But this one right here, I got to do this for the children because the children ain't got no idea how to spell this. Now, I hope children, y'all know how to spell baby. Please tell me you do. But just in case, B-A-B-Y. And now Fred, baby Fred. And you spell Fred, P-H-R-E-D. Baby Fred, okay?
Yeah.
And then there's a dude named Perry Dog, and there was a couple more. But look at him. Here's the biggest thing. I met the sweetest elderly couple. I mean, so sweet. We're going to become real good friends. We become friends at the game. And first, I want to shout out to the students. Man, did they show out over there?
Oh, yeah.
Man, they done a good job. And we had more people this week, more people tailgating, just getting better and better. But now back to the elder couple. Okay. He coached in Mississippi. They both were born black-eyed pea and cornbread fed in Mississippi. And I believe he told me his last coaching assignment was Ripley. Now they live in Hoover, Alabama, so they can be around their children and grandchildren. Now, this couple's one of their children is a year older than you.
I know exactly who you're talking about.
Hold up, you got to let me finish now.
Okay,
I'm going to ask you that question. All right, now I know you love Miss Annabeth, known better on this station like Lou Bell is. Miss Annabeth is B. She's like me. She's all capital letters B. Homecoming
Hey,
queen.
you got to drive this home. You got to drive this home.
Okay,
It's going
all right.
long.
Well, all right, here it is. Here it is right here. Back when you was up there in college and all that, you had your hands on this fella's boo-boo pretty regular. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah. He was our starting center, Eric Allen. He was an all-SEC selection at center. Yeah, he's big time.
Yeah, you had your hand on his boo-boo, and I know you didn't have it on Annabelle. So anyway, here we go. Here we go. Hey, we finna wind her up
Okay.
and get out of here, brother. Hail State!
Chicken Hawk out. The man, whatever allotment he gets, he's going to fill it up. And if there's any way possible he can use the word boo-boo in a phone call, he would use it. Man. All right, so Chicken Hawk's out. We got that one behind us. Yeah, I saw a picture, Bill. He ran into a bunch of other listeners to the radio show and to the radio station, including, like he said, Fred, who spells it with a PH.
With a PH.
Uh-huh. All right. Robert was kind enough to wait through all that on line 2. Hey, Robert, thanks for calling. What's up?
Hey, man. Hey, you dated yourself with that you asked what you got at Toyota.
Yeah, I did, didn't I? That's right. I mean, you have to be like a child of the 80s, maybe early 90s to understand that one. Yeah, I'm glad you picked up on it.
No, to try early 80s.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I remember the commercial, which means I dated myself too.
Yeah, right.
Man, I know when there weren't any Toyotas.
Hey, well, I heard you say earlier that when your previous callers talked about where Aaron Rodgers quit on the team, and I thought it was absolutely disgusting too, the way he acted during that game. It's like, dude, why don't you just retire or tell him you just wasn't going to do it, rather than get up there and do that to your legacy and to the game of football? It's like, man, we all know what we're looking at, and we're not looking at your best. We're not even looking at your half best.
Mm-hmm.
And your attitude is like, man, I wouldn't want you coaching my little league team. My team with doing that. That's a terrible example to set out for kids. You're a professional. You're getting paid for this, no less. But I thought it was terrible. Arkansas demonstrated to me why I should just give up betting on football altogether. It's just you can't predict. Arkansas and Stanford, those two teams. That's why you give this up, because it's impossible. It's like, okay, you lay an egg against you barely beat Rice, Arkansas, and you treat Texas like a stepchild up and down the field.
Mm-hmm.
And Stanford, you're just USC's kryptonite. Every time USC think they're good, here comes Stanford to bring them back down to earth again.
Yeah, and I can't help but wonder.
I
can't help but wonder, Robert. You know, you look across sports, but football and every team, it seemed like when we were doing these 100 teams previews coming up throughout the summer, it's like every team had a lot more starters returning and lettermen returning than we normally see in a year. And I kept going, is it grad transfers? Is it – and I think it's just what you have is across the country, it's a little harder to predict because I think teams are just generally older this year than they normally have been, kind of collectively, because last year was a free year of eligibility, didn't count. So there are a bunch of super seniors out there. And then I also can't help but wonder, like this transfer portal thing, there's some places that are using it to their advantage more so than others, making it harder for us to get a gauge and predict these things going into it. Not that it's ever been easy to predict it. I just think it's as unpredictable as it's ever been.
Oh, I can't remember how many times I heard analysts on ESPN and others say, well, it's always the same 4 teams. Well, we know who the 4 teams are going to be before the season even started. Mm-hmm. Well, 2 of those 4 teams need some help right now in order to make that playoff. How predictable was this season? Because if Oregon and Oklahoma doesn't lose, Clemson and Ohio State aren't getting in.
You're right.
Alabama and Georgia are going to have to lose to each other, and if they only lost to each other, you can wrap that one. You can wrap those 2 spots.
That's it. It's a really good point. I mean, you're 2 weeks into it, and I hadn't even actually thought about it, but you're right. Clemson and now Ohio State are going to need some help, some kind of way. Isn't that something? Wow.
Yeah. That predictability for the 4 teams in the playoff every year. Well, yeah, there's a couple of teams threw a monkey wrench in that one early in the season.
They sure did.
No, you can't predict it that quick already. Because right now, if the top 4 teams do not lose, and Alabama and Georgia's only loss is to each other in the SEC championship game, then the 2 of the 4 that everybody thought was going to be in, they're not in. And they're not so much not even in. Ohio State doesn't really look like a top 4 team right now. Clemson, okay, you're going against perhaps the best defense in college football, but your schedule is garbage.
Right.
So that's not going to help you.
They have Clemson at this point, as we sit here today, Robert, as of today, Clemson has no ranked opponents remaining on its schedule. Now think about that.
And you hate to punish Clemson because you want to see games like Clemson, Georgia, but they needed Georgia because the rest of the schedule was going to be garbage. So, I mean, Georgia hurt you, but they were the only thing that could help you too.
Yeah.
Well, I guess not, because they could have just rolled their benefit of the doubt, playing mediocre ACC teams, and rolled that into the playoffs and got beat there again.
But here's the thing about it too. You've got the human element on this committee. As the season rolls along and we get into the playoff polls, Robert, and I'm looking at it going, all right, Clemson, not only have they lost to Georgia in a game they didn't score a single touchdown, okay, and Georgia's defense good, yeah, but here's the thing, this, we get into SEC play, people are going to score on Georgia. They're not going to look great every week. That's Georgia. Well, Clemson's got this loss to them, and they're not playing ranked teams, and they're in a conference that, Florida State just lost to Jacksonville State at home. The team all year long that's supposed to go in here and challenge Clemson for their division, that's what we heard anyway, was NC State because they're so veteran. Well, I got news for you. Little old Mississippi State just dominated them this past weekend from the ACC. So I think the conference they're in, you get in that room with these people on the playoff committee. If the ACC as a conference doesn't start to look better, that's going to work against Clemson.
I mean, Clemson's hope right now is Pittsburgh.
Yeah. Wow.
and maybe because Pittsburgh beat a struggling, lost half their good players Tennessee team. But that's the only thing Pittsburgh can hang their hats on. Mm-hmm. It's like, okay, well, yeah. So no, it looks like a lot of this parity we were wanting. It's come in even with the 4-team playoff. It's okay. Nope, you guys. Yeah, you're not predicting the 4 teams this year. Just in August.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I was one of those. I'll be honest with you. Because that's the way it's been in the past. I was going, I already know who they are. Well, apparently I don't. Here I sit. Oregon just went to the horseshoe and blew them out, and Oregon didn't even have their best defensive player play in the game. Probably the best defensive player in the country. Didn't even play in the game for them. Exactly. They still blew them out. Good call, Robert. Hey,
Chris
it's good to hear from
Chris
you.
Chris Berman, the greatest line in football, is, hey, that's why you play the game.
That's why you play the game. He had
All right,
that
man.
one. He had that one, and nobody circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, he was full of great ones. All right, buddy.
All right, Robert. Appreciate the call. How about that? We really dated ourselves in a couple of ways. One, he recognized when I said, "You asked for it, you got it, Toyota," because that's from the '80s. And then at the end of it, he and I both are giggling, laughing about quoting Chris Berman. Nobody circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills. Robert and I can hang out now. I think we're on the same page. He sounds smarter than me too, and that's generally the kind of people I try to hang out with. Is people who are smarter than me, as opposed to the other.
I guess that's why we hang out here every day.
Yeah, that's it, Bill. Absolutely.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
other
it.
than the fact that you're paid to do it, and
Yeah, that's true.
you signed the dotted line and said you would. Other than that, yeah, yes.
The thing about the Toyota thing, when you guys were talking about Toyotas, I said, well, I told you, I remember when there were no Toyotas.
Right.
No Hondas. In fact, I remember the first Toyota dealership ever coming to California and had like 3 different models is all they had. And barely had enough cars for you to even look at.
You were around when you heard these conversations like this. Hey, have y'all heard this new kind of car? It's called a Toyota. You heard about this?
Mm-hmm.
And then about a decade,
and they were called the Nissans back then were called Datsun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Datsun.
The Datsun.
Mm-hmm.
Not the Dachshund, but the Datsun. D-A-T-S-U-N.
D-A-T-S-U-N.
That was the competition for Toyota back then.
And frankly, they are the reason that so many of us that grew up that were born in the late 70s and grew up in the 80s didn't know how to spell Dachshund like the dog. We didn't know how to spell it because that stupid little car was spelled wrong. All right, country please and text line 885-ESPN or 885-3776. Grumpy texted and said, Matt, do you know the circumstances that brought Jet Johnson to MSU? Grumpy. Well, I'll tell you one story I heard, without going into great detail who I heard it from. But one story I heard is that, he was a longtime fan, and that Coach Mullen and his staff tried their best to foul it up. Yeah, well, I say tried their best. It's just the recruitment. It wasn't necessarily the most flattering process. Let's just put it that way. But I sure am glad he went. Hoghead Cheese texted the show, and he says, hey, he called me Jake, by the way. He says, Jake, hey, Jake. How did your parlay turn out? Well, Hoghead Cheese, I'm not Jake. I don't gamble.
Not enough hair there.
And you need to resend that text at 3 o'clock when Jake comes on the air, and I'm sure he'll entertain it for you. Because he'll know what a parlay is. I'm not even sure I know what one is.
Will. Mm.
No, and for the record, I did not say parfait. Now, I know.
But you know what a parfait is.
Absolutely know what a parfait is. A peanut buster parfait at Dairy Queen is so good it ought to be illegal. We talked about those one day on the show. It is a thing that is layered. They go chocolate syrup in the bottom, ice cream, peanuts, caramel. And then they do it 3 more times in those layers. Chocolate syrup, it's like a dessert casserole. Chocolate syrup, ice cream, peanuts, caramel. Chocolate syrup, ice cream, peanuts.
I'm going to fix a casserole.
Make your tongue slap your hat off, and then make your belt have to put a new hole in your belt. The wrong way. Let's see here. J-Rock texted me, and he said, do you think Kevin is in the top 5 or 6 coaches in the country? Just think about it. Kevin who? Who are we talking about? Kevin who? I need a last name. I don't know who Kevin is.
I just think you know everybody.
I mean, what? More bully, I got your text, man. Hats off to you. Thank you. Troy in Austin, Texas. Okay, says, what did he say here? Y'all need to give the Coast some love in the Player of the Week. I don't give out the Player of the Week. That's for somebody else. Maybe that's for Chris Brooks. Chris was a little under the weather today, but Capital Sports MS, maybe they do Player of the Week. I don't do it. Leon says, Leon says the Ducks came in there and gave the Buckeyes a black eye, and they really did. I mean, it was nobody expected to see that.
Whack, whack.
No one expected to see that. Oh, and Joey, listen, I got your text. Don't worry about it, Joey. You didn't rub me the wrong way. I'm just setting some rules out there. That's all it is. Setting some rules out there for this show. I don't want to talk about people's addiction and whether they're over it or not, and things that might force them to go back and relapse. That ain't for me. And that's all I was saying. It's, that's all. Didn't rub anybody the wrong way. Denzel said, Toodaloo says Tulu, and welcome to Wally World. Yeah, that's right. Welcome. When Neil calls every now and then, he doesn't do it every time, but every now and then you get a Jaden Wally highlight, he'll say, welcome to Wally World. And I did notice that television had the same call. They said, welcome to Wally World as well. So I don't know if they stole it or what. I just know that they said it as well. And then we'll get to some more texts coming up. Now, on the live stream, let me get back over here. Will commented on YouTube. He says, I took my cousin to the game this weekend. Talking about in Starkville. He's an NC State alum, and this was his first SEC game. He said that going to the game in person, he saw that there was huge talent gap between the SEC and the ACC. That's one thing Bart and Charlie were talking about in the post game on our radio broadcast. When I went up there to the restaurant with them afterwards, and Bart pointed out, the speed. There was a noticeable difference. The speed of State's defense versus their offense. And you hear a lot of times coaches always put those things together, right? They say not just one or the other. They say speed and physicality. And there was a noticeable difference. I mean, there really was a noticeable difference. I heard an interview with the ACC commissioner, the new ACC commissioner, and as much as a basketball conference as they've been, he said, we have to become a football conference in the ACC if we want to be strong in the future going forward. So I think he realizes the reality of where they are versus where they've got to go as a conference. Clemson's schedule is a great indicator of that. More with you coming up in the Bureau, the Farm Bureau Insurance Studio. Stick around.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Better buy Bird's Eye. Better buy Bird's Eye.
Yes, always look for this Bird's Eye Bird, your guarantee of top quality frozen food. And your big Bird's Eye buy this week is Bird's Eye Orange Juice. Easy, you can serve it in a minute. Thrifty, it will save you money. Orchard fresh and delicious.
Better buy Bird's Eye. Better buy Bird's Eye.
Now, if you know your oats and want to feel your oats and taste how good an oat cereal can be, well, you'll go for Cheerios. Great way to start the day with really great eating. That's Cheerios, one of the few foods made from oats. The tasty cereal grain everyone should have at breakfast. Crisp and golden as only a toasted oat cereal can be. And nourishing? Why, a Cheerios breakfast gives you the power protein that grown-ups need to help stay in trim and youngsters need to grow on. Toasted oat goodness, toasted oat flavor, a delicious power breakfast. That's Cheerios.
Let me tell you about an ice cream can't be beat.
The very best tasting you can eat.
It's Meadow, 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 Meadow Smooth Freeze Meadow Gold. Go to your ice cream man today, and here's the word that you should say. Oh, give me Meadow, Meadow, Meadow Smooth Freeze Meadow Gold.
And remember, folks, Meadow Gold
is mighty good.
For double enjoyment, reach for Beech Nut Peppermint Gum. It sparkles your smile, your breath, your whole sense of enjoyment. Beech Nut Peppermint in the familiar yellow pack.
6 o'clock, dinner time. Thank goodness for Jell-O Instant Pudding.
Yes, thank goodness for Jell-O Instant Pudding. The terrific busy day dessert you can make at the very last minute. See how quick and easy. Just add it to cold milk and beat it up. That's all. By the time you're ready to eat it, it's all ready for you. Jell-O Instant Pudding, made by the famous Jell-O folks. So creamy, so nourishing, so delicious. No other instant pudding is quite the same. Stock your shelves with all 7 flavors. The good busy day dessert. Jell-O Instant Pudding.
talking more great sports for you, Mississippi.
Online transmission is ready, sir.
Live online at thezone1059.com and
Keep your radio turned on
to ESPN 105.9, The Zone.
All right, back with you, rolling along here, hour 2 of the show. On this Reaction Monday, Georgia made short work of UAB. Didn't even need JT Daniels. Georgia's super duper talented, aren't they? Is this the year for Georgia? Georgia, is this the year? Now, Bill, you may have to help me with this one. Rep Dog on the Country Pleasing text line said, you want 80s references? I've got 80s references. He says, Emerson and Forbes remind me of Hayes and Haynes.
Oh, yeah.
What's that?
Hayes and Haynes?
Yeah.
Hayes and Haynes. Now, I remember there's a...
Is it a show? Is it a cop show? Or, you know, the 80s were famous for all these different shows.
A lot of cop shows, yeah.
And they were always duos, you know.
Yeah.
I even had a Starsky and Hutch reference in the show for Friday and forgot to use it.
There's also an Alias Smith and Jones cowboy show that used to be on.
Is that right?
I watch it every weekend, yeah.
Well, I have to look that one up. Hayes and Haynes. I got to see which one that one is.
Because there's a Hannibal Hayes on there, and then
okay,
Kid Curry.
Kid Curry.
They had to go by different names because they were wanted, so they went by Alias Smith and Jones.
Now, Jason in Flagstaff just texted me, and he says, do I get points for calling Pig U being much better with KJ Jefferson? Yep, I will admit it. Now, you've been texting me. In fact, I can even see it here. All right. This was back last Wednesday at 2:06 p.m. Jason texted us, and he said, I fully expect Pig U to give Texas all they want. I'm looking for the debut of the old Baylor offense that got Robert Griffin III, the Heisman Trophy. KJ Jefferson is perfect for Browell's offense. And hey, look at here. 333 rushing yards later. It's a 40-21 tail whipping in favor of the Hogs. That one's fun. We were all carrying the SEC banner after that one. So what did happen this weekend? Let's be honest. Okay, 48-14 Alabama over Mercer. 48-14 Alabama over Mercer. And coulda, shoulda, woulda, whatever. It'd been worse. But Mercer was way more competitive in that game than a lot of people thought they would be, especially early. Okay, so give them credit. Now it's still a game not worth turning it on. That talent versus their talent. And be like, well, regardless. But, it wasn't 63-0. Let's put it that way. But this one almost was. Georgia 56-7 win over UAB, and Stetson Bennett had 10 completions. Half of them went for touchdowns. No joke. Kid goes 10 for 12, 5 touchdowns passing. It's almost like Jameis Winston against the Packers. Florida went to South Florida in Tampa. They played at Raymond James Stadium, home of the Bucs. And Florida won the game 42-20. And Florida has this little quarterback issue going. They got Jones as the starter, but there's some other kid, named Richardson or whatever, who's played really well and had 100 passing, 100 rushing. There's your Mullen offense for you. So they've got this little issue brewing. Florida was really in control of the game. I mean, it was 38-3 at halftime. So, it was just not even a contest there. They were dominant. Of course, Arkansas over Texas in Fayetteville, 40-21. Didn't get to see. I'm going to go back and watch replay stuff. Just looking at the score, the box, some of the details, and then I saw a picture of the stadium. The Arkansas fans were phenomenal. As you would expect, no trouble for Ole Miss, taking on an FCS 54-17 win for Ole Miss over Austin Peay at home in Oxford. Auburn also taking on an FCS, and Alabama State beat them 62-0. Yep, 62-0. Auburn scored 60 or more in both of their first 2 games, but they hadn't played anybody at all. But Auburn's better. They are. Trust me. Guys, pretty good win for South Carolina on the road at East Carolina. East Carolina's improved. And South Carolina wins it 20-17, close game, competitive game, figure out a way to win. Pittsburgh over Tennessee. It basically happened like we all thought it would happen. We were talking last week, right? It felt like Pittsburgh probably had the advantage in that one. Tennessee, I don't know what they're going to be going forward. I just know this. They're not that bad. Defensively, they're not great. You give up 41 to Pittsburgh. They were competitive, physical early, but they couldn't sustain it throughout the game, and that's really the test. Anybody can go be physical and aggressive for a quarter, but can you do it for 4? And Tennessee couldn't. You give up 41. 27 points you allowed in one quarter, the second quarter alone. And Pickett, the quarterback for Pittsburgh, really is good. Okay, so that's to be noted. But Tennessee offensively, they had Milton, the Michigan transfer. He's the starter. Athlete, does a nice job and, manage their offense. But they, last week against Bowling Green and this week against Pittsburgh, Tennessee kept getting people open behind the defense, and he pumps these deep balls way over everybody's head. And he couldn't hit the deep ball, no matter how open they were. And some of them, they were so open for big bomb touchdowns. They'd get them open and he'd overthrow it every time. So they couldn't connect on those. They had plenty of chances to win the game. State beat NC State 24-10. It was 24-3 with about 5 minutes left. And I just felt like, a 24-10, it's a 2-touchdown ball game, but it really never felt that close. State was really dominant in the ballgame, especially defensively. 5 minutes left. They hadn't even gone over 200 yards of offense on the night. State just shut them down, whipped them physically, really did. Excellent win for Kentucky. They're 2-0, 35-28 win over Missouri. LSU, no trouble with McNeese, 34-7. A&M by the hair of their chinny chin chin, man. They lost their quarterback, Haynes King, for several weeks. Broken ankle. That's what I saw today. And so they put this other kid in, and he was about to lead them to the win once in the fourth quarter, but he fumbled the ball going in the end zone. They got it back and still came back and got a touchdown. They were down 7-3 until really late and won it 10-7 in a weird, low-scoring game. And how about Vandy picking up a win? Went to Colorado State and outscored Colorado State 17-7 in the second half to win it 24-21. So Clark Lee gets his first win as a head coach in college football. That's your SEC stuff. Lots of other stuff happened. We'll talk about it going forward. Back over to the phone line. Parker, hanging on line 1. Thanks for calling, Parker. What's up?
What's up, man? A couple of games I wanted to talk about. First off, I'm an Ole Miss fan, and I keep seeing these opinion pieces about how Ole Miss's defense is much better than last year and how DJ Durkin turned it around. I'm just here to say, before we get into actual SEC competition, Ole Miss they're marginally better on defense. We're giving up chunk plays to Austin Peay. This guy had a 40-yard touchdown run where he broke 4 tackles. I mean, we're not – I think we're almost there. We'll probably be top half of the country, hopefully. But I just want to jump on that before, Alabama hangs 60 on us. Yeah. I want to get your opinion on the – I feel like Mississippi State's got a really, really interesting game coming up. They're playing Memphis, and I believe they're a 3-point favorite. You got Will Rogers, who honestly, once Corral gets out of there, he's going to be the best quarterback in the state. He is that kid he's money. I like him a lot. And last thing, my money pick of the week, my best bet of the week last week was South Carolina versus East Carolina, with South Carolina being a 2-point favorite, and I put a substantial amount of money on that game. Hooga. East Carolina jumped out 14-0 on South Carolina, and I'm looking at my bank account like, well, this is how it's going to look for the next week. And, I think they had a pick 6 from 61 yards out with 1 minute left in the half, and I'm like, okay, there's still hope. And, they squeezed it out with that GA that they turned into a quarterback. So right. that was a nail biter. But, I got my money back, and I'm going to bet back this week. I just got to look at these lines and see which is the best one. But, yeah, I just wanted to get your opinion on the State-Memphis game. I want to, I can't wait to watch that game. It's going to be really interesting.
I think it is too, Parker. I appreciate your call. I think it's intriguing to me too because, all right, this team as a group this year for State going to play away from Davis Wade for the first time. It's going to be an afternoon game. They say it could possibly rain, but it won't really matter that much unless it's a monsoon. They're playing on artificial. So you go away from home. The other thing is, State had to play a really physical football game and did for 4 solid quarters, and they didn't have anybody leave the game with injuries the other night against NC State. But you know good and well, I mean, after a game like that where you beat up on these big guys for 4 solid quarters and fly around and hit, there's going to be some sore and stiffness, and you got to work it out before you hit the road. And taking a team on the road for the first time is sometimes there's an unknown in that also. I just know that I know this, Parker. If State's defense just has a good day and plays the way it's supposed to, yeah, they'll give up some yards. Memphis is good offensively. They have a good staff and can move people around, and they'll have some stuff drawn up. But State should be able to win the line of scrimmage. They should be able to pressure their quarterback and create some turnovers. And I just see State's offense getting a little better each week. It's just what Mike Leach does. He always has done it. They improved from week 1 to week 2 in some key areas. I think State wins the game. And if they click on offense, they could actually win it going away. Appreciate the phone call. Thank you. Of course, I'm the guy that expected actually a close game and with NC State, and for them to be NC State to maybe even have the advantage because of their offensive line. And I was wrong about it. They had no advantage at all. So, don't bet the house on me. I promise you, don't do it. Don't do it. I wouldn't even bet my own on me on these games because you just don't know. Stick around.
Now's the time to...
After these messages, we'll be right back.
For double enjoyment, reach for Beech Nut Peppermint Gum. It sparkles your smile, your breath, your whole sense of enjoyment. Beech Nut Peppermint in the familiar yellow pack.
Jeans do come true. Blue Delta Jeans makes the best fitting, most comfortable jeans in the world. Let's dive in and see what we have here. Do what I did. Visit BlueDeltaJeans.com. Find your fit. Just for my listeners, enter discount code Matt Wyatt. Just answer the questions. BlueDeltaJeans.com. Answer the questions. Use this code. Use the code. You're going to get a discount. They are the most comfortable jeans I've ever worn.
Farm Bureau Insurance stands ready to provide financial relief to our communities in this time of crisis. This includes a one-time credit to all personal auto policyholders, a donation of $500,000 to the Mississippi Food Network, and additional payment options for those hit the hardest, all while continuing to service customer claims as well. But this is the time to go above and beyond. These are a few ways we're keeping the Farm Bureau promise. To learn more, talk to your agent or visit us online. Go with the home team.
Hey, y'all, let me tell you a little bit about C Spire. New stuff in 2021, including 5G coverage. If you go to their website right now, cspire.com, you're going to see their no bull, which, by the way, I love the Super Bowl ad with the slow motion bull. You're going to see that on the website. But look, they're right. There's been a lot of bull over the years in your wireless bill, depending on if, who you were with. And my experience with C Spire is just like they say, there's no bull. I know what it's going to cost me each month. I know what my coverage is the number one coverage in Mississippi, period, the number one network. And they've got 5G phones that are 5G ready. Now, I have the new iPhone 12 Pro Max, got it at C Spire, went and did curbside at my local C Spire location and did the exchange where I traded in my old one, got the new one, and it's 5G capable. And we've got 5G coverage in parts of Mississippi, and it's just growing by the day. So you really ought to check that out, okay? And in terms of the new phones, you got deals going on those as well. Find those out at cspire.com. C Spire, customer inspired.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Every farmer understands their farm can't thrive without some good partners like sun, soil, and rain. And farmers in North Mississippi also rely on another important partner, Mississippi Land Bank, because land and farm financing are Mississippi Land Bank's primary focus. We've grown alongside these farmers' crops for more than 100 years. We understand what a farmer needs, and we know the lay of the land in North Mississippi. and that's where I stand.
A lot of people in the equipment world, things kind of go in trends, I guess, if you want to say it. So kind of the first big thing that we look at when we start evaluating our business is going to be our turf equipment. That's kind of the first big push, because once everything, the water dries up and the grass starts growing, this is what everybody's looking to get. We carry the new Wright stand-up mower. Doesn't look like much, but this thing is, and it costs just as much as zero turn. Not a cheap unit at all. I mean, if you go out there and look at that zero turn, this thing right here, I mean, it's got all your components from your big pumps to your commercial engine to your large steel deck. And these guys were the first ones to make the standard mower.
Better buy Bird's Eye. Better buy Bird's Eye.
Yes, always look for this Bird's Eye Bird, your guarantee of top quality frozen food. And your big Bird's Eye buy this week is Bird's Eye Orange Juice. Easy, you can serve it in a minute. Thrifty, it will save you money. Orchard fresh and delicious.
Better buy Bird's Eye. Better buy Bird's Eye.
Now, if you know your oats and want to feel your oats and taste how good an oat cereal can be, well, you'll go for Cheerios. Great way to start the day with really great eating. That's Cheerios, one of the few foods made from oats. The tasty cereal grain everyone should have at breakfast. Crisp and golden as only a toasted oat cereal can be. And nourishing? Why, a Cheerios breakfast gives you the power protein that grown-ups need to help stay in trim and youngsters need to grow on. Toasted oat goodness, toasted oat flavor, a delicious power breakfast. That's Cheerios.